Hey y'all, today we're making praline caramel apples. So you're going to need green apples, caramel, this is homemade caramel, and you're going to need praline pecans, and then you're going to need also some apple sticks, and then of course you're going to need parchment paper as well. So you're going to start off with some really hot water, and we're going to go ahead and dip our apples into the water, because as you saw there was a good shine that's on the apples that's on them when you buy them in the store. So we're just going to go ahead and leave the stem on at this point, so you know you don't have to make contact with the water, and you just want to dip your apple a few times, and then you want to go ahead and take it out of the water after you've dipped it a few times and rub it rigorously with a towel. Now, after I did this process once, my apple was still a little shiny, so went ahead and did the process over again. So when it's about how you want it, go ahead and stop there. But if it's still pretty shiny, you want to go ahead and dip it again, so that you make sure you get that wax off, so the caramel sticks really easy to the apple. And as you can see at this point that the apple is not as shiny. After that, you want to go ahead and remove your stem from your apple and go ahead and place your apple stick inside the top of your apple. You don't have to stick it in there too deep, as long as it's firmly inside the apple so it doesn't fall out when you're doing the decorating and the dipping process. Okay, so after that, you want to go ahead and add your pecans to the food processor. This took a whole little can, y'all. These aren't homemade pecans, these are store-bought pecans, and I'm using this food processor to go ahead and break them down. I have a chop and a grind setting, but I'm just going to use the chop setting, and you can blend them into your desired consistency. I don't like them like powder. I like them a little bit coarse, but not too big, so they're not just falling off of my apples. So about right here is good for me. So like I said, just play around with it and get it to where it pretty much works for you. I like to have a little crunch on the apple, you know, because what's the point if you don't have a little crunch? That's why we're using pecans. Okay, and so after you've grinded your pecans, you want to go ahead and place them in a bowl big enough to give you a little room for rolling your apples in them to get them decorated. So you just want to go ahead and dip your apple into your caramel. Now your caramel can be thick or as thin as you want it. If you want it thinner than this, then you want to go ahead and add a little milk or heat it up a little bit longer, just depending on how thin or thick you want it. Now the first run, I left a little green at the top of the apple, so it's definitely your choice. The second run, I'm going to cover the entire apple in caramel. So you just want to go ahead and just, you know how I'm doing with the stick, you just turn your apple on its side and you can just twirl it around. And then for the little spots that are missed by doing that, you can go ahead and just use your hand and go ahead and sprinkle the pecans on the apple. It gets a little bit messy, but just work with it. And as you can see, I'm pushing the pecans that are at the top to the side so that they're not at the top of my apple. So there's round one. And then here we go with round two. We're going to go ahead and cover the whole apple and repeat the same process. So as you can see, some of my apples turned a little bit. That's just because of how long I had them in the hot water, because I really wanted to make sure that I got the wax off of there. They're not brown on the inside, so you don't have to worry about that. It's just the skin that turns, you know, because we're using the hot water on the apple skin. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and dip it again, just like we did before. And you want to leave your apples on the parchment paper to allow them to firm, allow your caramel to really get cool and everything to get bonded. And then what you can do is you can place them inside saran wrap, and then make sure you seal them. You can tie them, or you can just twist the saran wrap at the top to make sure that it's, you know, nice and sealed, and put them in the refrigerator. Okay, and so then the next day, the caramel and the pralines and everything, they're going to be nice and firm on the apple, and you're ready to enjoy them. Or if you want to enjoy them how they are, that's fine. Just everything is a little bit firmer after you put them in the refrigerator. And y'all, that's it. Praline caramel apples. I'm going to link the recipe to the caramel video right above if you want to use homemade caramel, or you can also use store-bought caramel. If you have any apples that you leave out that you're not going to eat right away, I would recommend that you put them in the refrigerator, and that you leave them in the refrigerator until you're ready to eat them. They can remain in the refrigerator for a couple of days and they'll be just fine. As always, we hope that you enjoyed this video. Please like it, share it, subscribe to our channel, and we'll catch you next time.